Well, hello and welcome back to another episode of Accountants Are Sexy, Change My Mind. Today we have a very sexy accountant with us. We have Mrs. Carly Shaw. Carly from Clarity of Accounting, welcome to the show.
Hello, thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. This is the second time we've tried to record this because internet's been playing up, and I'm fairly sure I gave you a really rather glamorous introduction before. But second time round. But Carly, we have been in touch with each other for the past 2 years or so, ever since the conception of your business. And I've watched you grow, flourish, and just smash the shit out of it, really. So I'm really, really excited that you're on to talk to me about the business journey so far. Would you do me the honour of just giving the listeners a little bit of an insight as to who you are and what the business is?
Okay, so I'm the director and co-founder of Clarity of Accounting, and I started the business with my co-founder, Katie Hackling. We've got quite a similar background, coming from a company where we worked as employees previously, had similar mindsets and decided to leave our positions for varying reasons. Both wanted to potentially set up on our own, but had our own worries about why we couldn't possibly do that. Actually, they ended up complementing each other. So we thought we'd be better if we were stronger together and setting up together. We specialise in looking after construction companies, and we decided to be zero only as well.
Okay. So you niched down quite quickly and you made some really harsh decisions, like very bold choices very early on. And I think that's done you really well. So to give an idea, before we dip into some other questions, just give a flavour of where your company is today, bearing in mind that it's only coming up to 2 years ago when you started.
So there are 6 of us in the team at the moment, 3 of us working full-time and 3 are part-time. We've got about 45 clients, but we take care, for most of the clients, we take care of everything for them. So we're doing the bookkeeping for them, we're looking after the accounts, CIS, PAYE, everything for them. We decided we would sort of try and set a minimum fee, so we don't have any tax return only clients or anything like that. At the moment, our turnover is just over, I think, 260, 270,000, about that sort of mark. So we're really happy with the growth that we've had so far.
It's been amazing to see, honestly. Like, I remember how nervous you were at first, and you were like, is this even going to work? And you've just committed, and it's done so well.
The niching was the scariest thing.
Yeah, I remember conversations with you and Katie about niching, and you'd already niched by the time we'd even ever spoken, but it was still nerve-wracking. So before we go into that side of the business journey, just tell me a little bit about your history and why you're even an accountant today. What led you to this?
I fell into accountancy by accident, to be honest with you. So I never set out to be an accountant particularly. I did my GCSEs and my A-levels at school. I knew that uni wasn't for me. I knew I wanted to train on the job doing something. I was always quite creative. I wanted to be, at that point, a graphic designer. It was really, really hard to get into. And unfortunately, didn't succeed with any of the interviews I went for. And just went for interviews doing lots of different things. Dental nurse, I could have ended up doing anything. But I ended up getting the job in the accountancy firm, and it all went from there.
So accountancy chose you, like you are going to be with us now. Isn't it just lucky that accountancy is like the cool kids? Like, they're the cool kids on the block.
Isn't it nice? I know, who knew?
So as you were going through these interviews for any job ever, like why do you think it was the accountants that chose you and not the graphic design or not the dental nurse?
I'd love to say it was just my personality, obviously just as fitting for this role. I don't know, to be honest with you. I'm so grateful that obviously I did get the opportunity, because at that point I had no idea what accountancy entailed. To me, it was just, adding up numbers all day. That's what accountants do. So I had no idea what the job would even have. I remember a conversation in the interview about Countdown, and we sort of bonded over Countdown. So potentially it was that.
I think that would be the weirdest anywhere. Yes, though. Yes. What about that Carly? Well, she does love countdown, so probably should pick her.
Weirder things have happened.
So it found you, and it was your love of countdown that got you the job. Do you think that you fit the role of an accountant? Like, if you picture in your mind's eye, even being an accountant, but picture in your mind's eye an accountant, do you fit that profile?
Historically, I would have said no. Most people I meet say, oh, you're not like a normal accountant, you're not like a typical accountant. I think everyone's got a stereotype in their head of what an accountant is. It's normally an old guy, with a comb over, wearing a dark suit. Accountancy's changed so much, especially in the last 10, 15 years as well. So I think there are a lot of accountants that are willing to, be out there, talk about business, talk about software, talk about the wider things that are going on, rather than just sitting crunching numbers. So I think historically, no, I don't think I'm your typical accountant, but I think the way things are moving, yeah.
And historically, I think accountants are usually introverts. Would you call yourself an introvert?
I think I'm on the borderline. Most people that meet me would say I'm an extrovert. I'm quite loud, I'm quite animated. I think I'm quite shy, actually. The worst thing for me, my worst nightmare was networking, walking into a room of people and saying, hi, I'm Carly. I would say I'm very introverted in that sense. So I sort of think I'm in the middle.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. Like, people think that I'm an extrovert, but that's only because they see me being loud. What they don't see is how long it takes to recover afterwards.
Yes, quite. Exactly that.
So you, after becoming an accountant, you was in that role for a while. Different companies though, wasn't it? It wasn't just the one.
Yeah, so I was in my initial role for 13 and a half years, had both of the children while I was in that role, and fully expected, I've always wanted to make it to partner. So I thought, I will make partner in this role. It became evident I wasn't going to get the experience that I needed to be able to make partner in that role. So that's why I made the decision to leave and went somewhere else. And at that point, you always think, oh, I know everything, and then you realise there's loads you didn't know. And that role gave me the opportunity to look at wider things that go on in accountancy, business development, marketing, other things, and client development and speaking to people as well as a little bit of public speaking as well, and just being able to try different things. So I was in that role for about 6 years, and was working my way towards being partner in that firm as well. I'd made it to director. However, due to changes in the business, it was never going to be that I could own a part of that business, because it ended up being bought out by a venture capitalist trust, basically. So I was, I knew I could never be an actual owner of that business. And that's what led me to the decision of I'm going to leave, and I'm going to potentially look for somewhere smaller where I can go in as a junior partner. And then I sat and I thought about it, and I thought about it some more. And in my head, I kind of made myself unemployable, and thought, I wonder if I could do this on my own. And that's when I ended up having I don't even know how it happened. I ended up having a conversation with Katie, and Katie was thinking the same thing at the time. So we just kind of thought, okay, why don't we join forces and do this? And we did.
Amazing. And do you remember the first few days at your desk? Like, you've started this business. What did you do in the first few days of that business?
Panic. I think we spent a bit of time worrying. We had different worries. So my worries were more on the compliance side of things. Oh, we've got to do these letters of engagement for clients. We've got to get insurance. We've got to, all of those technical things. Katie's was like, oh, are we going to actually get any clients and get any money in? I was like, I'm not worried about that. And all the compliance stuff, she was like, I'm not worried about that. So I think together we were able to calm each other and get through everything.
Yeah.
But we were really lucky, both of us, in that our husbands sort of supported us and the decision of, excuse me, I'm going to leave my job. I'm not going to earn any money for a significant amount of time. Is that okay? They were like, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, we like these husbands. I have one myself. Very handy.
Very handy.
So that was amazing. So I love how your skill set and your fears and your concerns complement each other, because I can just imagine the conversation between you and you saying, no, fine, clients will come, like it's, and I can imagine Katie responding to you like, compliance, no, I'm on top of it, it's no problem. I can just see it. So that's really lovely. And I don't think that many people get the opportunity to work in such a beautiful partnership. Like I would love to have someone in the business that's there, that the yin to my yang, you know.
I think we've always had a mutual respect for each other. And our previous boss will say that Katie was often in his office saying, oh, you know, Carly's amazing, Carly's really great. And I would be going in and saying to him, I think Katie's amazing, I wish I was like Katie. And I think he'd sit there having a little giggle to himself, that we both had this sort of mutual respect for each other. And then, being able to work together is brilliant.
Oh, that's good. So your first couple of days, panic, reassurance, like holding each other's hands saying, don't worry, we've got this.
Yes. Yeah.
What were your priorities after that? What was the first thing? What was the first real business decision that you remember making?
I think the main thing was the niching down. So I said to Katie, I'd read books, I'd looked online, I was watching podcasts and all kinds of things online. And I said to her, we need to niche. We need to be able to talk to exactly who we want to work with. And we both in our minds, we knew who we wanted to work with, but saying it out loud was scary, because you have the feeling that if you're only wanting to work with these certain people, then you're alienating everybody else. But if you open your doors to everybody, well, surely that's better, because then you'll get some clients in. And at the moment, you just need some clients in. But I managed to convince her somehow, because she was not convinced and she did not want to do it at all. I managed to convince her that if we could speak to exactly our ideal client, then that would be better. We would have the ideal clients coming to us, and we would be able to work with who we wanted to work with.
Yeah. It's funny because off camera, and before we started this conversation, you said that your marketing has been so effective that you can't market anymore, and you've had to close the doors because because scaling, because you have to scale. What's the term I'm looking for? You have to be strategic with your scaling, and at the moment you've got so much business coming through the door that you have to close marketing.
Yeah, I think that the thing for me is when our ideal client comes to us and they say, I've got this problem, and I heard you speak about this problem, I think you can solve my problem. And I say, yes, I can solve your problem. And I see the pain that they're in. I want to help them, and I can't say no to them. And it's very difficult to also say to them, I can help you, but I can't help you right now. Can you wait? I find that really difficult. So actually me not putting posts on LinkedIn, not doing videos anymore, it kind of stops people coming to us for a little bit. We are still getting leads come through, but it's not so strong that we can't keep up with it, because we want to make sure we can keep up with the capacity and the demand that we've got for our current clients, and we can keep the service levels high, because I don't want to be losing clients because we're not giving a good service. So we want to make sure we can keep those service levels. We've got really high touch points with clients. They've pretty much got unlimited contact with us and can call us at any time. So we want to make sure we can keep that up.
And when you decided to niche, you went deeper, and then deeper still. So just talk me through the journey of your niching journey.
Okay. So I think firstly, it was, we only want to work with limited companies. We knew we didn't want to work with sole traders, partnerships, limited liability partnerships, definitely limited companies. Quickly after that, we saw a gap for construction. Lots of accountants don't like working with CIS. They don't understand it and they find it a headache. So that was where we stepped in and thought, actually, we've got quite a lot of experience here. We can deal with this. So we thought that's where we'll go next. Then we started looking at the size of the business, and we realised because of the range of things that we wanted to do for the client, including doing their bookkeeping and the unlimited service that we offer, for some of the smaller clients with turnover, say under 250, they don't want or necessarily need that level of support. So actually they're not our ideal clients. So that's when we kind of said, okay, they've got to have turnover of more than 250. And then we've kind of edged that up slightly as we've gone along. So we realise now we're probably best suited for construction companies that will turn over 500,000 plus. But it's also the type of clients that we're taking on. They've got to want that. They don't necessarily need to want to grow, but they've got to want to get involved. Like, we include quarterly meetings, and having someone that you can, go through the figures with, that wants to learn and wants to understand. That's our ideal client.
Yeah, wants to be in control of their business and not just outsource their finance function and never think about it.
Yeah, most of them are guys that have been, and I'm not being sexist, most of our clients are guys. We have got some lovely ladies too, but they've been on the tools and they've built a business where they've got a few guys in to help them, and then they've got a few more guys, and then all of a sudden they've started having to step back from the tools, and they're running a business and they've got 500,000 coming in, and they don't know where to turn, and they thought, oh gosh, this got big quickly. And that's where they've started dropping balls and saying, actually, I need the help. And actually, I appreciate that I've got to get someone in, and that, I've got to pay for that and to get that help in.
One of the things that interested me when you first started out, because you were doing videos and you were nervous of the camera. You didn't want to be on video at all. I remember that vividly. But you started to include videos and voice notes in your service. Yes. Why did you make that decision?
We quickly discovered Loom, and we absolutely love Loom for internal videos, but also for external videos to clients. So we first started doing our proposal. We'd go through the proposal meeting, and then we'd put our proposals together with a Loom video. And then we started using it for management accounts. And then we'd get a call saying, I can't do this on Xero. So we'd do it in a Loom video. And also, like you said, WhatsApp, we found clients really loved using WhatsApp. And then some were leaving us voice notes. And some people I know hate voice notes, and they always say, oh, they're really picky. And I thought, you know what, I can respond in a voice note. And the main reason for that is understanding what our clients, how they want to hear from us. And it's kind of synonymous a lot of the time with construction. But we have got some clients that are dyslexic. And I've got no problems with recording videos or leaving voice notes if that makes their life easier and makes things easier to understand for them.
Yeah, that was such a brilliant move. Like, I had a lot of time when you told me that, and it was quite early on that you came to this realization as well. So it's almost been in the business since day dot.
Yeah, from quite near the beginning. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So I would imagine when people hear this, they would start to wonder things like, don't you get overwhelmed? Like, doesn't it get too much? Like, is it not? It's not as controllable, is it, as your inbox, for example? So how do you manage it?
It's difficult. We haven't got any clients that abuse the unlimited service. They do call or WhatsApp when they genuinely need help with something. We're really careful with WhatsApp. We don't give out too much advice on WhatsApp, if that makes sense. So it might be, we're chasing something. Can you just get this to us? They've got a quick question for us. If they send a question on WhatsApp that's, what's the difference between buying a car and a van for tax purposes, then I'll say, yeah, I'll send you an email, and then I might send that in an email or record a video on that. But so we try and keep WhatsApp sort of quite light-hearted, if that makes sense. Yeah. But it's just an easy way to reach out when a lot of the people that we work with are on the go a lot of the time. They've always got their phones with them, but they're not a massive fan of email particularly. But no, it doesn't get too overwhelming. Yeah, we seem to manage it quite well.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And when it's said out loud, you're like, yeah, why wouldn't you work that way with these guys? Because, I mean, because you've niched, and I think this is one of the reasons for niching, is you understand that client so well, and you can create systems and processes to support that client because you get them. So when you've got a broader client range, like how are you supposed to put a service in there that fits everybody? Because that simply doesn't work. Yeah. So it's really interesting that you brought that in. I love the fact that you're considering the neurodivergence as well. Like, business owners typically, many business owners a neurodivergent in some way, which is why they become business owners in the first place, because they're not
very entrepreneurial.
Yeah, they're just simply not as compliant as other people at doing things. So all of those small touch points really help. I think it's a beautiful thing to add. So tell me about taking on your first member of staff. How did that feel?
Okay, so it was scary in one respect, because you think, okay, I'm grown up now. We're taking on somebody. Somebody's got a mortgage to pay. Somebody's got children to feed, and you kind of feel very responsible at that point. The thing that made it really easy is Irina, who we took on. We already knew. We knew she had a great work ethic. We knew she was great at what she did. So the decision to take her on wasn't scary at all. It was just the mechanics of, oh gosh, I hope we can pay her.
Small details.
Yeah, exactly.
And is she the one that's with you full time?
Yeah, so Irina started part-time and she's built up her hours as her children are getting older. So yeah, she's full-time with us.
Brilliant. And then you have more staff that are part-time with you as well?
Yeah, so we've got Leslie, who's actually retired, got a bit bored of retiring, and decided she wanted to come back to employment. So she helps us with some bookkeeping and admin tasks. And then we've got Tam, who works with us bookkeeping. She's part-time. And more recently, we've just taken on Claire, who's another outsourcing manager, similar to Irina, we're going to be introducing to clients, and is helping us review bookkeeping, VAT, outsourcing tasks.
Fantastic. And how are you all working remotely?
Yes. Yeah, we don't have an office.
And how is that working for you?
It works well. Katie and I very early on kept thinking we're going to need to get an office one day. And then we worried about that because we both got children, both got dogs. We thought we don't really want to be in an office. And we were actually chatting to someone and they said, well, don't get an office if that's not what you want. If that's not what your business needs, don't do it. Take on people that are happy to work remotely. So that's what we've done when we've recruited people. We've made sure that actually they have got a space where they can work at home, and that they can sort of get going without having to be in an office environment. We do meet up, so every 6 to 8 weeks. It's an excuse for a pub lunch. So we do meet up, we do team activities. So yeah, we have got that, and we are building the culture that way.
Yeah, that's got to be the toughest thing. 100% remote workers, culture is tough. Passing information and knowledge sharing as well. So do you have communications throughout the day? How does that work?
Yeah, so we use Teams, so everybody calls each other. We've got a Teams channel that everybody's on, so we can drop notes in there about what's going on, and we're always keeping in touch on that. And I know everybody in the team is, if they need help, they're always contacting each other with Teams as well, to support.
So it's not all falling on your shoulders all of the time. There's communication between them.
Yeah, definitely. And again, the Loom videos come in there as well. So we're recording videos for processes and ways to do things again, so that somebody can sit down and actually watch the video and pause it when they need to and work their way through something when they take on a new task.
Fantastic. So once again, I just have to congratulate you, because I don't think you realise just how well you're doing and what an inspiration you are to loads of people. So well done, Carly. Well done. So I'm not going to sit there too long, because I know that you're going to go bright red and get like super embarrassed. But I want to bring you back to how you built the business, and I wanted to leave this bit into the last section. Really, you did phenomenally well on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So what happened? Like, you knew that you had to use LinkedIn, but what was your game plan?
So the game plan right from the beginning was I started posting 3 times a week. So my strategy was, on a Monday, it would be some sort of tip. So it would be trying to reach out to constructions. It would be written in a really easy way. I like to just keep one-liners, and I love my emojis. Yeah. And that's how I like to consume things on LinkedIn as well. So I try to sort of fit in with that. And then on a Wednesday, I got into video, which, as you said before, I hated. I think they say 100% of people hate the sound of their own voice. I absolutely hate the sound of my own voice. So I hated the videos, but I did them. I recorded some of them, who knows how many times, but put them out there anyway. And then on a Friday, tried to do something a little bit less focused on accountancy, a bit more personal. So it would be something just about what I'd done, if I'd been on holiday, if I'd done something, but just something to try and show a bit more about me. I did try and put a business spin on it. I'm not sure how good I was at that. And I just did that consistently, three times a week, over those various different types of post, effectively.
And how, because there's different ways of approaching this. Your audience is construction. So how do you think they found you? Did you connect with them? Did you use hashtags? Like, what did you do to build up the right audience?
I looked out for them. So I was constantly looking on LinkedIn for construction directors. So I was linking with them and making use of how long I could get away with, just keep building my following effectively and my connections. I did get a few little LinkedIn bans where they kept accusing me of being a computer, and I kept being accused of being a robot. And I was like, I'm not a robot, I promise. But yes, I was looking for construction companies, and then also following them and commenting on what they were doing. And that helped me understand more about construction and what their pain points were as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, benefit of niching. You can find the right audience. And I think people sometimes get a bit funny about going out and actually proactively finding the audience. Like, well, they can come to me, and if I build it, my content's that good that they're just going to flock to me. And you think, probably not going to see it, actually.
No, it's too slow. I took it personally at first. So it's difficult when you're trying to connect with people, and then they don't accept it. I think a lot of people think, oh, they don't like me, but I think they don't know me. They're going to connect or they're not. And if they do, I'm going to try and give them content that makes it worth their while for connecting with me, which was the stance I took at the beginning.
That's a brilliant attitude, actually. I'm going to steal that and use that. Like, if they've allowed you into their world, you live up to it, live up to expectation, give them something of value. That's brilliant.
That's kind of why I feel guilty at the moment that I'm not posting, because I think, oh gosh, I built up this following and now I'm not posting. So I almost want to put a video out there that's kind of saying, I'm really sorry, but I love you all and I want to give you value, but we can only take on so many clients.
You are too cute. And as somebody in marketing, I will tell you to keep doing that because you don't want to do the peaks and troughs. But I'm fairly sure that you guys are sorted for leads, because leads keep coming in now. Are you finding that you get more referrals?
That is a very new thing to us. So we have been having some referrals. We've recently had a client sign up with us who was a referral from another client. And we've had some referrals from a business coach that we connected with on LinkedIn as well. And we've had quite a few referrals via him. So yeah, it's completely different actually when you start getting these referrals come through. They're not always our ideal client, but actually just trying to go back to our current clients so they understand exactly who it is we want to work with, and to just gently nudge them to make sure if we do get referrals, they are the right ones.
Yeah, I think this is once again a really good thing of niching, is that you can be very, very selective, and building your people. The amount of times people say to me, "I don't need to do marketing because I get referrals." I'm like, well, that's really good. But are you getting the right referrals? Are they building your business in the right way? Or have you got a scattergun business where you're trying to serve everybody all the time and you feel like you're 8 octopuses big? Because I think that's the danger of just getting referrals. I really love how you're going back and training your clients. That client that referral wasn't particularly good. We can't help them, but if you just point them over here, then you'll get better referrals. I love that. Love it. So I'm going to bring this to an end, and I think you know what's coming.
I know the question.
So I hope that you've done your homework and prepared something amazing. Now, tell me, Carly, what is the sexiest thing about accountants?
For me, it's helping people build their business, and that helps them to then realise their dreams. So I think that's the sexiest thing they could be.
I think that's damn sexy about accountants too. I wanted to say thank you very much. I'm going to point people to your LinkedIn. I'm sure that other accountants are going to find you inspiring. Anyone who's listening to this who's in construction, you're probably on the wrong podcast. But if you are, make sure you come and follow and connect with Carly because she's awesome. So thank you ever so much, Carly. I appreciate your time today.